What's up, Diablo 4 players? So today I want to have a short little discussion video / going over some of the things that are going on with Diablo. Because as a content creator that has been playing mostly Path of Exile, I'll be straight up with you guys. I've been playing so much PoE 2. I still get players to ask a lot of Diablo questions, and I want to go over kind of what's going on with Diablo, as well as kind of answer a bunch of people's questions that they may have had for the new season, or just kind of like a newer player, and they want some advice and stuff. Because I've been seeing this post over on Reddit quite frequently, and that's because, of course, now that we have kind of passed the holidays, a lot of people, they get a brand new video game, and maybe they got Diablo 4. But let's go ahead and go over some of these, and I want to go over these via a pretty large forum over here, Reddit, and there's a lot of just really cool things that some people are talking about, and I want to kind of address some of these. So for starters, this person's asking, welcome back Booster, what is the best class to use this on? Now, that's going to be totally up to you. To be straight up honest with you guys, a lot of times it's pretty much the Spiritborn for most people's answer. And the reason why is the class is super powerful right now. It will be taking some significant nerfs in the next season. By the way, you guys are seeing Season 7 gameplay already here of utilizing a bunch of new powers and the new seasonal area. But to answer this question, I would really recommend you guys to actually look at gameplay of the builds before you make that decision, because this is kind of like a 1 or 2 time use. It depends if you happen to have the expansion or not. But if you guys don't know, if you haven't played Diablo in a while, there's a welcome back booster, and you can just boost any character and it'll just come up with a bunch of like items, legendaries, ready for you to basically play the content. And the reason why they do this little booster thing is because, well, simply most people don't make it to the end game. And I was actually surprised by a result, which we'll talk about in a moment here. But to answer the question, I really recommend you to actually watch gameplay of whatever thing that you want to play. There's a really great website called Mobalytics that you can select whatever class that you want to play and just look at the post over here. I'm obviously going to recommend you guys to check mine out because all of mine aren't just written guides. We also have videos to go along with that, and that's what I would recommend you guys to do. Now, I pretty much mostly just have Spiritborn content, but that's because everyone plays Spiritborn in Season 6. But you guys can check out the other builds, maybe from a previous season, and see what kind of skill that you enjoy, because for my guides, I always have like a video posted, and this way you don't even have to watch like how to make the build, but just watch the gameplay of the build, and that way you can see, do you kind of like how it plays? Is it fast enough? Is it doing kind of the stuff that you want to do? Is it a melee? Is it a ranged build? Because at the end of the day, you can do every single form of content in the game with any build in the game for the most part. The difference between doing like a pit 70 and a pit 150, it's just a numbers game. You're not really missing out on content. You can farm the mythics as any class, and that's what I really want to go ahead and drive home with this point of like, which class should I play? I just got the game. Which class should I use my boost on? Watch gameplay, and then from that gameplay, decide for yourself, is that something that you want to play? Because I can tell you 100% without a doubt, the Quill Volley Spiritborn build is pretty much one of the top tier builds in the entire game. But just because something's top tier doesn't mean that it is fun for maybe you. And at the end of the day, a video game is supposed to be fun. So that's what I really want to stress here. And then this person just saying, new player looking for tips. And what I would really recommend you to do if you're looking at like gearing choice tips, I mean, I could sit here and type this all day, but the best way to actually look at, you know, what is the things to actually go for as far as upgrade goes, like this person saying that, you know, looking at his build over here, maybe he's playing minions, maybe he's playing another build. Decide what build that you want to play first, and then go to a build guide, and then you can mouse over the pieces of gear and kind of see what kind of things that you want, what kind of gems do you want, what kind of Runewords do you want. Decide there. If you're looking for advice on a build, there's tons of build guides. The resources are already out there. You don't have to sit there and read text. You can watch it in a 10-minute video, and I promise you that 10-minute video will save you so much time with your build. And another thing I wanted to mention, this person's saying like this thing is not working. To be honest, with Diablo 4, because I know there's a lot of newer players coming in, this is going to be a video for like newer players and players that maybe have been playing the game for a while. Certain passives, certain like glyphs, they just straight up don't work in Diablo 4. And there are tons of bugs with things giving you way more damage. That's why the Spiritborn is just miles, and I'm talking thousands of times stronger than any of the other classes in the game, and that's the way that Diablo 4 is in its current state. There are some builds that are way better than others. It's kind of like a flavor of the month like that. In one season it was all about the Ball Lightning Sorceress, and it was the Hoda Barbarian, and things kind of take turns at being like the top thing. Again, think of flavor of the month. But there are going to be certain things that aren't working. to find out what's not working. If you watch a build guide, sometimes content creators will tell you, hey, this glyph or this little legendary passive is not really working as intended. And that's just unfortunately a part of the game. Games just have bugs in general, and they do patch these out quite frequently, but until Season 7 comes around, there's going to be a lot of Spiritborn builds that are like way OP, and that's just kind of the nature of the game, just to give you guys realistic expectations on what the game currently has. And this person's asking about, like, do I get to keep the legendary forever? Okay, so this person's saying, like, hi, I'm new to this game, I just got a certain level, I like this item, can I keep it through my entire playthrough, or do I need to replace it? Now, this kind of comes down to, like, in Diablo 2, sometimes you get, like, a unique item, and maybe it's only, like a low-level, like, item, but you can use that all the way until the end of the game. But with item power in Diablo 4, these sort of things, they will be upgraded. You can salvage your legendary, and what it's going to give you is called a legendary aspect. And what we're going to be able to do is whatever new item that you like, you could take that item's power and just kind of move it over. It's going to cost you some resources, but it's pretty much, like, free. So don't worry about keeping a legendary, like a special power forever. Just salvage it and you can actually move on. They kind of explain it here, but I figured I'd go ahead and explain it because some of these things do pop up once in a while I'm streaming, and I figured I'd just make a video because I want to make Diablo content, but I've been playing so much PoE and we're kind of just waiting in between to wait for Season 7 to drop. And when Season 7 comes out, guys, I promise you we'll be playing more Diablo 4 because sometimes people will see me playing another game, whether it's Marvel Rivals or in the past couple weeks, I'll be honest, most content creators, even Diablo partners like myself, we're just grinding PoE, and people come in and then sometimes they feel bad about asking questions, but no, by all means, come into the live stream and ask me questions about Diablo. I'm more than happy to answer them. But anyways, this person said over here, no matter how many ancestral legendaries I salvage, you never upgrade your aspects. So it kind of goes back to that same person asking about, like, can I keep this legendary forever? You can keep on salvaging stuff, and these numbers will kind of go up. Now, to get a high perfect roll aspect, it has to be a legendary ancestral, otherwise it's not going to actually give you an upgrade to the max roll. It may be the max roll on a legendary, but not on a ancestral legendary. And the reason why this person's not able to get it is because the RNG is pretty bad. Now, they are kind of fixing this with Season 7, so if you feel frustrated, myself included, like, I have thousands of hours in Diablo, and I still don't have all of the aspects maxed out for specifically Season 6. Season 5 and under, dude, we had everything maxed out. But in Season 6, to be honest with you guys, unless you guys are interested in trading items for gold, it's realistically not possible. And the amount of gold that's required because of RMT is out of control. So this will definitely be alleviated, hopefully, next season. They said that they will be changing some of the drops and all that stuff in terms of, like, getting higher rolls. So it should be easier to access. So if you feel frustrated, my friend, don't worry. Next season, fingers crossed, it will be fixed. We'll have to wait and kind of see how much it's fixed. This person is talking about Eternal Realm after the season ends, and he's asking, what do you do with a seasonal character after you play it and it moves on to the Eternal Realm? Has ended. How many of you actually play the Eternal Realm? So to kind of answer this is, like, what you're seeing right now is like the new seasonal powers for Season 7, and if you are playing on the Eternal Realm, you're not going to be able to access this. To be honest, most people just don't play on Eternal if they are interested in playing with their friends and a new fresh start, so that way everyone's kind of on equal ground, so you grind through all the Paragons. But to be honest, I actually do play on Eternal once in a while, and the reason why I play on Eternal is sometimes I like to test out, after something gets buffed, I like to test out, well, like, you know, how much of a buff is it? Because if you played like Rabies Druid or certain other builds, sometimes they buff something, or like teleport. If you guys have ever like gotten excited when they're like, here's 500x damage on teleport, I got really excited. But, you know, 1,000 times 0 is still 0, so if you get a buff on a, you know, skill that might be still bad, well, it's still bad. So that's what I personally use the Eternal Realm for, and sometimes people want to group up and they want to play on Eternal. That's cool too. I mean, there are people out there that just only play on Eternal because they don't want to go through the leveling process. And the reason why is because it takes them so long to get to the end game. Well, a player like myself or any content creator, most of us in one weekend we're gonna have like a maxed out character. And some people, they don't have that much time to put into the game, or they might not have the knowledge. Honestly, it's more so just having that knowledge. It's not necessarily like you need to spend 1,000 hours to get good gear. It really just comes down to how efficient are you actually playing the game. And another person over here saying that he has a hard time finding a very specific set of runes, and that is because some of the runes, they're very hard to get. one excellent way that you can acquire these is by doing some of the tormented bosses. They have a high chance to drop certain things, but this person's like, dude, I started playing 3 weeks ago, so he's Paragon 168, and he just cannot get that item. The thing that I would try to do is I would engage in trading, try to join up in different Diablo groups. I mean, honestly, if you needed these runes and I was live streaming, I'd just be like, here, bro, you can have them. I have so many extra ones. It's not like Diablo 2 where, like, I really care about the currency in the game where it's like you gotta trade for some stuff, because it's so much harder to max out in D2. But in D4, like, it's just like, dude, we kind of just gear share. It's like, I drop this item, I don't need it. Does anyone in the chat need this? You know, I hook it up. But the best thing to do is try to play in a group with other players, and you can say, hey, guys, if anyone gets one of these runes, I really need it. I'm willing to trade X, Y, and Z. Try not to ask for things for free, to be honest. Sometimes it does get annoying for some groups if there's always one guy, hey, guys, I need this, this, this. Try to play with them, make some friends, and then say, hey, guys, if anyone gets this as a drop and doesn't need it, I will trade X, Y, and Z, or I'll trade whatever else drops that you need. You know, I really try to encourage you guys to play in a group, or you can find another streamer and say, hey, do you have a slot open? Can we play together? Some streamers, they're interested in this. Some of them, though, I'm going to be straight up with you guys, they're like, dude, I don't want it. But if I'm doing any of the tormented bosses, I always try to fill up the party. I'm like, hey, does anyone need to group up to do like any of the tormented bosses? I have materials. If you guys have materials, you guys are welcome to join. If you guys don't have it, don't worry about it. There are, again, different ways to join up with groups. You can find different Discord groups. You can find it on Reddit. There's even Facebook groups for Diablo to play together. And some players may be slower than others. Just keep that in mind. Not everyone is a super, like, you know, blaster. To be honest, I find the best way to do it is just to go into a stream versus going on a forum and posting, because sometimes it's just like there's just no one there. Whereas like if you're on a Diablo live stream and you're like, hey guys, anyone want to do Rotas? Sometimes the streamer doesn't like when people like say, hey guys, you guys want to group up. Sometimes they like it. For me, like I'm like, hey, if you guys want to start a little like group while I'm streaming to go do whatever, that's excellent. I like that. I encourage it. But yeah, again, playing in a group is definitely key in Diablo. I would really, really recommend you guys to do that. Next up, this person says that he can't start Vessel of Hatred. He's asking for a... he finished the base campaign, but he can't figure out how to start Vessel of Hatred. So this one over here... okay, this person's asking about if he has the ability to create a Spiritborn. You have to make sure that it is installed. Like this person says, on Xbox, you have to go into the manage game options, make sure that it's actually installed. But in terms of getting access to this area, there is, if you just create like a brand new character, it should be pretty easy to see the quest line, but there is kind of like a thing that you need to do. I believe it starts out in like Yugioh, where you go to it, and then you could start it. But check, open up the map. There's a bunch of like these primary quests, and it should be like one of them. If I remember to update the pin, what the name of the quest is. There's probably like a start NPC that you have to talk to. But yeah, that's how you do it. It's not in the main menu where you select which campaign that you want to select. You just have to go there, and this person's saying that they're not in Yugioh. So I'm guessing that this is, you got to talk to this person. But if you open up as long as you have the expansion, you're going to have to open it up and then select like the quest, and it should have the marker. It's pretty easy. Like it'll tell you exactly where to go. It's not very vague. But this person's asking for some advice. He has a sorcerer build that has the damage after entering stealth on it, but I've seen electricity randomly circling around me that hits enemies first. On an idea on what's making that. So probably like, is it the ball lightning? So I guess it's the axial conduit over here. Or some codex. So sometimes what players do, and I've seen this before, is they'll equip something and then their skill like changes. This is kind of like a really beginner thing, but sometimes they just get a legendary, they don't read it. And one thing that I really want to stress, if it's your first time you're a beginner player with Diablo 4, is just read the actual item, because it could change a skill and it'll behave in a way that maybe you weren't really used to. So I recommend doing that and just begin to read. It's an action RPG. These sort of games, they're not just like go in and kind of just play. It's not like, well, Call of Duty, you have all these upgrades and stuff with your weapons and stuff. But for the most part, the thing I want to stress is reading is pretty good in this game, because it may change a skill to where, again, you don't like it. Another thing is that this person is mentioning that he's like, I'm at level 45 on my glyph, but it says required legendary upgrade unlocks at level 45. It actually requires you to be 46. Why they do this, I don't know. but it's a really random number. It would have made more sense if it was at like, you know, 40, 50, like a number that makes sense. It's really weird. It says 45, but it's actually 46. That's just the way these glyphs work. It's a kind of a simple thing. It kind of unlocks another power over here. And this is actually a good question for even advanced players or players who have been playing the game for a while. What's the best place to call home? Basically, if you guys didn't know, in Season 6 there's a new addition where you can right click on anywhere on the map as kind of like your home base, and whenever you like use your town portal, it'll always put you in that area. So the areas that I can recommend is actually the Tree of Whispers has a bunch of things. There's going to be an update in Season 7 where like you kind of have the ability to turn in your stuff at other areas. You can see over here, that's one of the newer areas. There's kind of in the newer seasonal mechanic, but Saragar is great too. So yeah, recommendations would be not Kyovashad, but Saragar and the Tree of Whispers can be excellent places. And then I was also thinking about, like, what about the future of Diablo here? Because this is kind of a cool question. Talking about what are the hopes for Diablo 4 in 2025. And I think that we're probably going to get another expansion. Not leaking anything yet, but I'm just saying that more than likely we're going to be getting an expansion. And then we're going to be getting a new class and new forms of endgame. That's a big topic in the Diablo community, is that we need more endgame over here. But they were talking about, like, what are your hopes for it? And then, yeah, this person said it how I felt, which was Season 2 was really cool. So if you're interested in, like, kind of like Season 2 in terms of kind of how it works with, like, vampire powers, Season 7 is definitely going to be something that you will be looking forward to, as it does have, like, the powers itself, and then you also have these gem sockets. There's actually a lot of cool content. However, the newer area, which you guys are seeing gameplay of, it's not really challenging, to be straight up honest with you guys. There isn't really anything to kind of test your power other than Pit. So if you really want, like, to push an endgame, it's kind of the same thing that you've been doing for a while as the Pit. But again, these newer areas, it's kind of like another Helltide. There are other little events that you can do. You can do these like animal escort missions where you kind of like move certain things. But most of the stuff, it just feels like it's kind of like a meh thing. Like it's not like super epic and brand new. The powers are really cool, and that I want to give them thumbs up on. But as far as like some of these little mechanics, think of it kind of like the Grim Favors that you were doing before. It's kind of like you go here, you kill some stuff. That's kind of what it's like. Like I said, the powers are pretty cool, and I'm hoping to see just more forms of endgame content. Maybe they can do something with, of course, the raids, the citadels in the game in the future. But as of right now, I feel like most people, it's kind of a one and done once you get the cosmetic. This person asking, what's the difference between T3 with Spiritborn versus T2 on Barbarian? Basically, one class is maybe way stronger than others. And what you can also do is some classes will have gear that is kind of something that will cross over. While you might not be able to use the legendary aspect that the class has, you could still use a lot of gear that may be like dexterity based or strength based, depending on the class that you play. Some of them do have crossovers. Like, for example, the Spiritborn as well as the Rogue will kind of share gear, so to speak. Now, again, sometimes there are certain things that will not cross over, but if they're dex-based, you can kind of utilize one character to kind of boost up your other character, whether that's the weapon. Keep in mind, you can always reroll one of the things on the weapon at the occultist anyways. And then this person's saying, like, what am I meant to be doing with my end game gear? I just hit this game. I'm now getting like higher level gear. Again, my suggestion, instead of like posting on a forum and waiting for people to respond, just go look at a build guide. It will really help you out in terms of knowing what things to roll. What is the value of your specific gear? Any suggested build guides? Are there parts of gear which is unique to it and cannot be altered? So basically, to answer this part of the question, which is like, how come I cannot like change the role on a unique? So a unique in the game is unique. You can upgrade them in terms of going to the blacksmith, and you cannot add more like stats to it. Essentially, you can give it like more numerical like numbers, but you're not adding extra affixes, or it's not like a prefix or suffix. They just call it like basically you can temper some of the items, and then there's the masterwork. You can still masterwork the uniques, but you cannot add temper to add any other things to them. That's kind of how the uniques are in the game. This person's just like fairly new. I like how this person says he's on the Xbox, if that matters. Okay, so as far as a newer player guide goes, I would say just try to have some fun with the campaign yourself, because if you watch like some player's guide, they might tell you to play a certain way, and that will definitely speed up the process. But I feel like learning is part of the game, and if you get stuck, then following a guide is something that I would recommend. But I know some people, they prefer to watch a guide and then they decide to play the character. But I think that it is a learning experience that I think is really fun, and you can't really do that again. So I actually think that I would recommend players that are brand new to try to play Diablo yourself. the difference between Diablo and Path of Exile, like Path of Exile, I'm telling you guys, you got to follow that guide ASAP, read every single line or watch every single second of a video. But with Diablo, the game is actually a lot more beginner friendly, and I think it's really good to try to do it yourself. But this was actually an interesting thing, and I don't really want to like touch up on the subject of is Diablo 4 dying, but it's more so that I was actually surprised by this number, which was that only 3.67% of players have actually unlocked and completed the Vessel of Hatred campaign, which is crazy to me. If you would have asked me, I would have said, oh man, like, I don't know, like 80% players probably completed the campaign that had access to it, and that number is only 3.67%. Now, I'm pretty sure this is on console, because I don't know if there's achievements on Blizzard, but nonetheless, that was actually pretty alarming, and that's probably why they have these like level boosts. They want a lot of the player base to have tried the game that just really didn't make it to the end game. They want these players to be able to make it there, so I think that that's good. But this definitely shows that a lot of people just never make it to the end game as far as it goes, and that's something that I would have not expected. So we're probably going to see a lot more boosts and a lot of ways for maybe more of the casuals to get a little bit more of a ease in the transition to the end game, because you may play the campaign, I don't know how long it takes for some people, let's say 10 to maybe 20 hours, maybe even 30 hours to complete the campaign, but people spend hundreds and hundreds of hours at the end game of most action RPGs, not just Diablo, but Path of Exile, Last Epoch, Torchlight. There's tons of action RPGs, but most people spend most of their end game time in the end game. So like the fact that only 3% of players even make it to the end game, that's very, very surprising to me, but just an interesting thing. This person says he's stuck on difficulties and he's looking for advice. If you're stuck on a difficulty, my suggestion would be to look at a build guide. Is probably my easiest suggestion, but you want to make sure your resistances are capped. Like, so if you're having like survivability issues, make sure you have 1,000 armor. Make sure you have all of your resistances capped. As you go higher in difficulty, you are getting negative resistances, and that might be why the jump from Torment 1 to Torment 2 is feeling a little bit rough, because all of your resistances, you get more minuses, as well as, I believe you also like armor, but basically, you need to get more as you go on at the end of the day. That's probably why he is actually suffering. I mean, it could also be DPS, but most of the time when people are complaining about, like, I can't get to the next Torment difficulty, it's because everything seems to be too hard. But again, follow a build guide and you'll be a-okay. It's just, sometimes people don't read the thing, but it tells you that like you're going to get negative resistances. It's going to be harder as you go on, which is normal, but you know, again, that's just how it works. Again, this has to do with the grind was too much, non-max aspects. Again, in Season 7, hopefully this will be actually changed, and that's going to be something that is something to look forward to. This person posted a pretty nice thing. He was talking about XP, and this ties into new players. New players are like, I gotta get max level. I understand. Just keep playing. I promise you will get max level. It's really not that hard in Diablo 4, but this person made a bunch of different like things, and the maximum XP for Season 6 at least, you can get the XP wells in the Nightmare dungeons. You can also pop like Gillian's Brew, any of the potions basically that you can acquire. And then you can also use an incense, you can also use an opal, and then the Legion campfires. And then so you get a bonus of 65% XP. Keep in mind also with your season, like when you are progressing, there's these little ashes, and you want to make sure that you put the points into XP, which will also give you extra bonus XP. Because again, this kind of ties into, you know, progression for a newer player. As you gain more levels, you're gonna get more skills, the game's gonna be more fun, and you're gonna become like more powerful when, you know, you have more skill points to go ahead and put it in. And I got this question asked a lot, because I know for some people, maybe they just jumped on in Season 5, but I saw this a lot, where people ask me, well, what's a new class in the next season? Man, I wish there was a new class in Season 7. Unfortunately, we're going to have to probably wait till the next expansion. I think it'd be really cool. I'm curious to know how you guys feel about this. Would you guys be okay if they charge for like a new character every single season? I think, I mean, it's probably unrealistic for them to make a new character every single season, but if there was some sort of like monetization, like incentives for them to make a new class, and if it was like, I don't know what they would charge. Let's say like $5-10, or maybe if you just buy the battle pass, the character can be unlocked at the very end of the battle pass. Maybe it could be at the beginning, in the middle. I don't know. At the end of the day, it should be something that maybe if it was free, that'd be even better. But you know, I get it. They need to pay for someone to make the character, so like I'm more lenient on this one in terms of like monetization. But I think it would be cool if we got a new class every single season. They do that in a lot of like video games where there's a new season, like if you played Overwatch or maybe like Apex Legends or Marvel Rivals. I know this is an action RPG, but Torchlight does it too. They come out with a new like class kind of every single season. would you guys be interested if there was a new class but you had to pay for it? For me, I think like $5-10 wouldn't be bad, because like I feel like I'm getting enough content. If they have to make all the glyphs, all the uniques, and all the aspects, I mean, that is quite a bit of work. So like I don't mind personally. Like if they made an expansion every single like year, there's a whole campaign, it's like 10+ hours long. We get new forms of endgame, there's a new class, there's some new endgame systems, the mercenaries. Like if there's a lot more content, I really don't mind spending money on the game in terms of you know, new content that is substantial. It's going to obviously kind of cost money, but I think that this would be really cool. But yeah, we will get no new character class, but I'll briefly mention that there was a leak a while ago talking about a Valkyrie class. It was actually artwork on it. It was on like an official, like, you know, artwork for like, it was called display. It's something, these little like metal signs that you can put up. But basically there was artwork and then it got removed. And the fact that it got removed makes a lot of people think that that was something that should not have been out that early. But nonetheless, there was basically, again, it was like a Valkyrie, it was like a Javazon, maybe spear-looking class, but it was supposed to be like a holy class. Who knows if we are going to be getting the Paladin. There was one leak a while back ago, this was actually on 4chan, but like the guy knew about so much stuff that I believe that leak was pretty much true at the time, because the person was talking about some sort of execute mechanic, and he actually revealed so much. Like he was talking about the druid, the transformation, he nailed every single thing. The only one thing that was wrong pretty much on the post was the Paladin was supposed to be one of the classes. Now, will they add the Paladin class to the game? There technically is the Paladin class existing as one of like the side quests in the game, so technically the Paladin is in the game, and I think you get like one item that's related to the Paladin, but as far as it being playable, maybe in the future, I'm curious to know what class you guys would be excited about if they do actually add another class. Obviously, we're going to get another expansion, we're going to get another class more than likely. I'm hoping we get 2 classes. A lot of people want to see some sort of holy class, so maybe a Crusader, a Monk, or a you know, a Java Amazon thing could be there potentially. But I've always wanted them to add the true Demon Hunter. This is something that goes back into like the older early iterations before Diablo 3 like got released. The original design of the Demon Hunter was a hybrid where you actually had a demon arm. As if you look at the artwork on a lot of the earlier iterations, even it's still in Diablo 3, one of the arms on the Demon Hunter arm is very unique. It looks very, very different, and the reason why it was almost like if you played like a Devil May Cry, where like one of the arms has like some sort of special power, and it's like a hybrid. It was a really, really cool idea. Never came out, but it would really be cool to see the Demon Hunter. And obviously we kind of have the Rogue, which is similar in style, but like we would have like the dual crossbows, and they can make heavy emphasis on the demon arm. Maybe a samurai class. I like to see completely brand new classes. Versus, oh, we would add, let's say, the Witch Doctor. But if you do like the Witch Doctor, genuinely check out Season 7. Season 7, a lot of the powers are actually related to the Witch Doctor. There's like a toad, there's a lot of these little like poison things, there's a lot of stuff if you are interested in like the Witch Doctor. And in fact, you know, I was thinking about it, I'm like, maybe they had the Witch Doctor class planned, and they just kind of moved over the skills. And that happens sometimes with games. They're like, okay, we have this class idea, didn't work out, we'll put this, you know, this special power that we made for this class, we'll make it a unique item or something like that. So I'd be really interested to see what they come up with. But anyways, just want to update you guys on some Diablo content and share some, you know, other little posts and answer some questions for newer players and just kind of talk about Diablo 4. But anyways, let me know, guys, what you would like to see as far as Diablo 4 content, because we have like almost a month until the next season comes out, and I still want to deliver some Diablo content for you guys, and let me know, guys, what you'd like to see. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. If you're new here, subscribe, turn the bell if you guys would like to see more content, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care.